Hello everybody, welcome to Spot On Jaguars, brought to you by Teal Reign. This is the inaugural show, so if you like Jaguars, giveaways, and all things Duuuval, hit that like and subscribe button and follow us on social media. Let's get to the big show. On today's show, we're going to do some intros so you can get to know us. We're going to talk about some off-season news and notes, and then we're going to talk about the big topic on everybody's mind, the stadium. Let's get right to it. It's time to meet the crew. I'll start off with myself. My name's Eric. I'm a lifelong Jacksonville resident, and I'm the host of the Spot On Jaguars podcast, brought to you by Teal Reign. With me, we have Mr. Teal Rising down there at the end, Ben, and to my left, we have Jeff. Jeff, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Born and raised in Jacksonville, been a lifelong Jags fan ever since they got inaugurated. Super excited about this year. We've had a tough upbringing.
When Jaguars a president or something, they got inaugurated?
Yeah, got an inauguration. That's what the inauguration season. Remember that little thing said inaugurated?
I remember.
In 95? Remember that? God, he's such whatever. Anyways, back to me. It's not about you. So, lived all over the city. Grew up in Arlington, Mandarin, lived at the beach. Now I live in Riverside. I love enjoying the city, all the restaurants, all the people. The people are amazing, massive Jaguar fans. We love our Jags and love my bourbon. And this is just about it.
Go Jags.
That's right.
Ben, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, day one, diehard Jaguars
The storyteller
fan,
of the group, by the way.
Teal. That's right. Well, you're here for a podcast, so you're here to hear stories, right? So I'm your
Sit
man.
back and relax.
I'm your man.
Be a bit.
I'm a Jaguars fan. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. And some of y'all might recognize Ben from his Teal Rising platforms. Tell us a little about Teal Rising, Ben.
It's just a page I did. I started because I was always taking Jaguar pictures and drawing Jaguar pictures. And so I started off doing it, because I was flooding Facebook with pictures of Jaguars. And I was like, I got a lot of people, maybe they don't care about the Jaguars and whatever. So I decided to kind of consolidate, and make it go to one place. And then I draw, and so I wanted a place to, kind of put some of my drawings. And at the time, there really weren't a lot of, I thought, like cool like edits, like Jaguar edits and things like that people could share. So I wanted to try to learn how to do that and work with some of the digital stuff, which is embarrassing. Like early on, I was like doing edits and drawing literally on my phone. I had a phone where I could like draw, and I was trying to learn how to do all the graphics and stuff. And some of the early ones were pretty embarrassing. But and then the other thing was, just building on Jags community. It was kind of a dark time in Jaguars history, and even amongst the fans and some of the social media, I didn't like some of the vibe. It was like if you had this group over here, and if you didn't fall in line with them, they'd gang up on you, and you're not a real fan. I just thought that was kind of lame. I was just like, look, man, I was like, we're all on the same team, And now if somebody's an idiot, they're an idiot, and you call them out or whatever. But my whole thing was just I wanted a place where I wanted a safe space, but a place where all opinions welcome type thing, and we could talk it out, that type of thing. But so yeah, I mean that was it, and here we are.
And I've been a childhood friend with Ben forever, and I always give him a hard time about a lot of stuff.
I knew you when you were this tall.
I'm actually the same height.
Oh yeah,
which is insane. Yeah. It's like nostalgia looking at me. He's like, I remember. But it's actually impressive is Teal Rising, because I give him a hard time, but we go to games, go to every home game, and it's so funny how people going, that's Teal Rising. That's Teal Rising. I'm like, oh, here we go.
It really did take on a life of its own.
I got a little following.
Are legit.
Thank you.
They're legit.
Appreciate
and when you
it.
go to the OTAs, you go to training camps, you involve other fans that you're not even friends with, but know you, and you involve them in your social media, which I think, and it shows basically the Jaguar community, how we're just one group of people that really want.
And that was the thing, like
for our city.
I never wanted to be like a pseudo Jaguars like news page. I mean, if there's like something news, I'll share it, and whatever. But primarily, it's pretty lighthearted and it's fun. I like to have fun with it. But the I don't know, the main thing, it was just like I said, it was just an outlet. It was just to kind of get out there. But one thing that is cool is, over the years, I've been able to interact not just with fans, but like players, or they'll reach out to me and message me and say, hey, I like that. Can you send me that? Or, can you draw something for me and things like that. So that's pretty cool. I've gotten to even like interact with, I think like you said, other teams. Shout out Cowboys Can Fan. They're a podcast that Cowboys fans from Canada, and we were talking when we played the Cowboys, and that's actually one page that I follow. They follow back, and we kind of go back and forth just a little bit, but maybe one day when we play the Cowboys next, we can get them on.
And even off the top of my head, 2 fans that you don't know who they are but followed your page. A couple from Canada came and tailgated with us.
Yeah,
From Vegas.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Just off your
which
platform.
I've become buddies with them on Instagram,
Yeah.
and it's funny when I go and like my wife and my kids are there. When we're walking to our seat, people are like, "Yo, Teal Rising," and I'll go and talk with them. And, hey, let's take pictures and whatnot. And my wife and my girls are always off to the side, kind of rolling their eyes. I joke around with my daughters. I say, I was like, what is it like your dad to be an influencer? I'm joking, obviously, but they, I like to mess with them.
I want to take it to like the reference. I could see if you're Marvel fans, Avenger, whatever, where Hulk was at the dinner table and the fans were giving the signature. And you got Ant-Man. I'm Ant-Man. I'm like, hey, I'm Ant-Man. Do you want my signature? Like,
that's a perfect analogy.
We don't know how you.
That's like a really good analogy.
Well, yeah, we've been conversating, arguing, debating football and mostly Jaguar stuff for years now, and now we're doing it, on camera. Now we're doing it for a podcast. So, one last thing, Ben, tell me about Teal Reign.
So, part of the drawings and all that is I always had designs on wanting to make T-shirts and other types of designs, art prints, and things like that. And so the name is Teal Reign because the Jaguars we're not rising anymore. We're ready to reign, And so
I like it.
Jag-centric apparel, art, and whatever. I don't know.
We will be doing some giveaways for some of that Teal Reign gear. You'll be seeing it week to week.
Yeah, and some of the pictures and stuff like that. We'll throw some of those in some of the giveaways that we do. So
sounds good. All right, first things first in the offseason, I guess we'll go with the draft. We had some weak spots coming in the draft. We obviously needed to replace a cornerback. We needed a pass rush. And then what seemed like days before the draft, we found out that Cam Robinson was going to be missing time due to suspension. And the Jaguars went number 1 overall pick with offensive lineman Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. Not a very flashy pick. Linemen don't usually really move the needle one way or another for picks, but it is something they were going to have to address. Keeping Trevor Lawrence upright is going to be the main priority going into every offseason. So with that being said, Jeff, tell us what you think about the draft.
I think overall the draft was, B-. I think the first pick with Anton Harrison.
You stole my grade.
I did. Because we agree, because we've been friends since 5th grade. So, but I thought it was a solid pick. We needed it. We lost Juwan. We lost Cam. And last year our line did a reasonable job. But losing those 2 is kind of like, oh my gosh.
Right.
But I thought what they did with the guy from Oklahoma, I thought it was a solid pick. Like you said, it wasn't flashy, but I thought it was solid.
All right, and then Ben, question for you. So obviously the offense was the bright spot of the team last year. They wanted to, I would feel like they would want to get some defense. They didn't go defense till the 4th round. Linebacker from Florida, Ventrell Miller. 2nd round, tight end from Penn State, Brenton Strange. Running back, Tank Bigsby next. And then Ventrell, 4th round to address defense at all. What do you think about that?
Well, see, that was my thing. I said I had it at a B- also, and it was because the positive was I think we did fill the holes that we needed. We needed pass rush, we needed cornerback, we needed tight end, and offensive lineman obviously. So we filled. It was just at different times, when we pick guys. Like I wanted defense earlier than we ended up taking them because I think our defense was good last year. It was opportunistic, but it wasn't good enough. And so like really going into it, I was like, get some more cornerback help, but definitely got to get pass rush because guys can only cover for so long. So you got to get that pass rush, which we still haven't addressed in as much as I thought we needed to in the draft or free agency.
All right,
we had that bend don't break defense, and with the pass rush situation. We have a lot, in my opinion, I'm putting a lot of pressure on Trayvon.
Well, the team, that's what the team, that's the team is, they're banking on the young guys. They're banking on who we have in-house. And I think that, they, not that I'm down on the guys that we have, but I just think that they have a lot more faith in the guys that we have and them taking that next step. You know, that's where they're
Well, they've spent so much draft capital in the past few years. First round,
Yeah.
first overall pick on Trayvon, obviously. Real early pick on Josh Allen. If these guys don't develop or don't come along the way they want them to progress, then how much more draft equity or draft capital can
that's what
spend
you
on the pass rush?
That's what you need them to do. You need them to come along. It's just that, like, for me, again, B- on the draft. I liked it. I would feel better about the whole thing if we would bring in the veteran pass rusher, at least, you know, and that's been kind of frustrating just because there's been guys that are out there. And, you know, I know it's got to make sense money-wise and all that, but I just feel like from what I know, they could have made a run, and they may still. We haven't gotten into training camp yet.
That's why I wanted that Calais signing so bad.
Yeah,
so bad.
And then the second overall pick was tight end out of Penn State, Brenton Strange. Obviously, that fits right into Doug Peterson's playbook, going back to his Philly days. 2 tight ends, also with the inevitable franchise tag Evan Ingram's on next year. We don't know. He's a free agent. You know,
Yeah.
he might sign, he might not sign, but it gives him a little bit of flexibility, a little bit to work with another addition of a tight end. But once again, not addressing defense until the 4th round. What do you think about Brenton Strange? It is Doug Peterson's caliber player, what you want, but
I was a little shocked by the pick, honestly. But like me and you talked last week, the way you brought in, saying, well, if Ingram signs a franchise but never signs a long-term deal, we have Strange. I was like, man, I've never thought about that. So after you saying that, I'm going, that's actually a pretty solid pick because Strange is the guy that is all over the field as a tight end.
Right.
He's not a one-dimensional tight end. He's all over the field. And I'm
He can block.
and it made me feel better after what you said about that pick.
And then I'll ask you, Ben. So once, I guess what it was the cornerback was the issue. And we have a group text, obviously. Our group text exploded with the Brenton Strange pick because what happened was Pittsburgh traded up to get Joey Porter Jr., okay? And the Jaguars had 13 picks. They had more draft capital or picks to trade. They could have moved up into that spot.
They said they couldn't, though. Balky said that it was like they made like 20-something calls or whatever, and nobody was.
And they were
trading
trying
with
to move
them,
up, and it
you
couldn't
know?
happen. Okay, so right now we'll take it.
it's kinda
But
out.
that's what had happened is we were obviously we were texting each other and saying, hey, what is that? What we wanted a corner. But then once we started thinking about the tight end, like Jeff said, yeah, it did start to make sense. We can now see what developed there.
Well, that's what they're always trying to do. I mean, it's like you can't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, Ingram has been awesome. He's been a great player for us. I want him to stick around, and I don't know what his side is asking for. He's got until July 15th, I think, is the date when they can sign him to a long-term deal or sign the franchise. The franchise tag, I don't envision him not signing it. Like, I don't think he would
That's still
hold
a lot
out.
of money compared to what he's making
Yeah,
last year.
yeah. But then going forward, if we don't get him, on a long-term deal, then, again, with the other guys that we have to sign,
I was about to say that.
then, he may leave, and then we have Strange, coming in.
That's
All
what I
right,
thought.
and it's 6th round, and when we took a cornerback, Christian Braswell out of Rutgers, don't know much about him, but when they did select him, the guys doing the ESPN podcast were saying that was a pretty good pick right there. So, I mean, we have high hopes for him, but that's what it is at this point. It's hopes.
Well, and that's what when I kept going back again, when I look back at the guys in the draft, even the ones that maybe I didn't know as much about, I kept saying, I wouldn't have gone there, but he looks like a good player. He is a good player, So it's like it might have been a different sequence when we drafted him. I think that we got a bunch of good players. So, that's my B-.
You know what makes me the most comfortable about the draft this year is the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been more happy with, like, our defense coordinator, our coach. Like, we've never had a coach like this guy that has come in. He's won a Super Bowl. Should have honestly never been fired by the Eagles. Ever.
Right, and you can see the way he's molding the team to what he wants it to be with the picks. He's going offense when, as a fan, you would think they were going to go defense. He went offense. He got his guys in there. He got a running back to take carries off at the end. He got another tight end. You could see what he's doing. You could see him inflicting his personality on the team and doing it his way. And that's what we want to see. That's what we want.
In the 7th round, he could have picked a potato, and I'd be like, I guess that potato's a really good player.
Well, if you get any
I guess
production,
he sees something I don't.
Well, but the other thing, I know we had talked about this before too, was I'm sitting here and what do I know, but I'm like, we need defense. I still think we need defense, but who had one of the best defenses, right?
Hard to remember at this point.
Philly, right?
I
I know
say
Philly
Eagles.
had a real good
Eagles.
defense, right? How many points did Kansas City score in a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a
All right, so you got to be able to put up points in this league, and so you can have a good defense, and you do need to make stops. But ultimately, they're building in house their defense, and then offensively, I mean, again, I think we're going to be a top 5 offense when it's all said and done.
That's
And-
why I want to refer back to the bend don't break defense, like against the Ravens, against the Cowboys, against the Chargers. It was a bend.
We made
don't-
plays. We were opportunistic
when we needed the plays
Yeah.
to happen.
They give a lot
Except-
of points while
except-
they were
well,
defending.
Instead of just
except-
getting smoked.
Except when Chad Henne was a quarterback and drove the whole field on us and scored. When
Why?
we
That's
Why
a
are you
sore-
bringing up?
that's a sore point.
because I'm
telling
saying
you.
that's why we need the pass rush. That's why
Eternal
we need-
pessimist is your name.
I'm not. I'm an optimist, but
And
what
now-
I'm a realist because that was why
was terrible.
again you need to put up points in this league, but ultimately you got to get stops at certain times. And when you have 67-year-old Chad Henne back there, and we don't even sniff him, and he goes the length of the
99
field.
yards?
Yeah, it was tailor made. We were right there, ready to go, and we could not get to the quarterback.
was
So
uncalled for.
that's why I'm like, we needed pass rush, and so we'll
makes
see.
sense.
All
We'll
right,
see
moving
what
on to
happens.
the shortest segment of the year, free agency, because we've done nothing. So free agency.
Well, we weren't going to though. That's the thing. I mean, we haven't made a lot of flashy picks. I mean, we signed some guys. We kept guys in house. There's guys that we kept guys. Now we weren't going to sign.
Obviously, they brought people in. Calvin Ridley is a addition.
No,
to
but
the
he
yeah.
was that was a trade
That was a
from
trade. That was-
from
But I'm
last
saying they
year.
brought someone in. It wasn't a free
It was
agent
solid.
signing, but they brought
Right,
addition.
right.
They added additions.
And
to
Juwan Taylor, we weren't going to be able to pay him that money. To me, I think the big one was Arden Key. No, because
he was huge.
Arden Key because
Good player.
he brought an
Good
energy and he what do you have 5 sacks though but
He
and,
was
and
in
I don't
really
every
came on
single.
the end
He
of the
was
year.
in the backfield.
I agree.
Really came on the end of the
Yeah,
year.
I don't diminish his fight. I wanted us to keep him.
Yeah.
And so that kind of hurt. And really, if anything, we haven't replaced some of the production that we lost. Smoot is still out there. I don't know what's going on, but the Achilles is a funny thing. And so they could maybe look to bring back Smoot. Losing Arden Key hurt. I don't think it's the end of the world. But it's it's still, to me, it's the elephant in the room. I mean, it's like, where are those sacks going to come from? But anyway, as far as free agency goes, I mean, it was more about, we didn't have a ton of money to spend. And it was more about keeping guys in house.
Obviously, free agency isn't over yet. I know you want a veteran pass rusher presence.
Yeah.
I know what you're asking for. So
Really wanted Calais.
really wanted Calais.
Really
I did too, and it wasn't just sentimental. I mean, I loved Calais. It wasn't
It's that
just
locker room
sentimental.
mentality.
But it was that. But it was production too. I mean, he still put up numbers, last year.
and he didn't have to play all the time. He can just go
exactly.
in and just,
I thought that it made sense because he would go in there, he would play. It was off the field and on the field,
Yeah.
and it just
Great
didn't
guy.
work out. Yeah.
great guy.
All right, and then after that, let's talk about the way too early go through the Jaguars schedule for this year. Before the rosters are even fully set, we could kind of project a little bit. Obviously, we have the division games, and then we have the Chiefs. We have the Chiefs coming in real early. Obviously, if you want to talk about who's going to be favored by the Las Vegas odds makers, the Chiefs are going to be the favorite as well. They're going to be the favorite in every game they play this year, but they're going to be the favorite coming into the Jags game. We get the Bills, we get the Saints, the Steelers, 49ers, the Bengals, Browns, Ravens, Bucks, and Panthers are all the out-of-division games. If you look at it, we're going to be favored in 12 of those games. We're going to be the underdog in 3 of those games, and 2 of them are going to be about coin flips or about even. That's what the schedule is going to look at. So looking at that, what do you think? What's your prediction? Give me your prediction for the year. Ben, I'm going to start with you. Your prediction for the year schedule-wise, wins and losses, what do you got?
I got us winning 11 games, and I think we're going to feast on. The way I'm just kind of playing it out is we're going to get a lot of wins from the home schedule. I think we're gonna kind of start to establish that home field advantage, and I got us winning a lot of the home games, most of the home games, and then obviously the division. I think we're the overwhelming favorite in the division. I'll say we lose 1 game in the division, we win the rest of them.
Jeff, I'm going to ask you about the marquee matchups. We have Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Ravens, and Bengals. And those are going to be the 4 games that are going to be the toughest test, obviously, on paper. Obviously, the 49ers quarterback situation is still up in the air, but those are going to be the toughest tests on paper. If we split those and go 2-2, if we split those games and go 2-2, we would count that as a win. That would be.
I would say that's a success. 'Cause
Okay.
that's tough games.
All right, and then the Bills, obviously in London, we have the back-to-back games versus the Falcons and the Bills in London. One's home, one's away. I don't think that matters. That's. But getting the Bills at a neutral site is help. I mean, I'd rather play them neutral than at their place, but
Yeah, because they're actually the home team during that, correct?
right, yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a win right there for us.
Yeah,
'cause
we'll
it'd
take that.
Yeah, so I think that game is that's a toss-up game depending on if everybody's healthy. But I think we have the Bills' number. I think we can beat the Bills. Just like when we play Kansas City this year, I actually think that's a win. But then we follow up against the Texans at home, who we always lose to, and that's our one divisional loss. That's what I think. Texans.
Yeah.
So 5-1 in the division. What about for the year? Give us a way too early prediction
I'd
for the
say
year.
Minimum, we're going to win 10 games again, depending on if we're healthy. But I definitely think we're going to win the division.
And I actually think it's going to be 12-5
See, all
before.
those good picks.
But we're going to address that as the season gets closer. We'll be addressing the schedule a lot more. And like I said, the rosters aren't even really set yet. So
Yeah, it's way too early.
And it's a tough, we have a tough schedule. I mean, 49ers is going to be a tough game. Ravens is going to be a tough game. We have a tough schedule this year.
And Ben, let's get into your wheelhouse for a second here. You've been to multiple meetings now for the new stadium.
Oh yeah.
You want to tell us something? Come on, we're just going to throw you the mic and give us an update.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I went to the first two of the huddles that they had, and I really wanted to get a feel of just how the people, the kind of the vibe of the people that were there, and it was overwhelmingly positive. Not that that's gonna get us a stadium that people are happy about it. I mean it's gonna come down to the city and the Jags, but I mean I'm excited. I don't need a bunch of crazy, I don't need a bunch of luxuries or anything. I just want to watch the Jags play football. I'm even in the minority. The elements don't bother me. Like it bothers me. I get hot, but I kind of like being out in the elements in football. I like getting rained on. It kind of makes it more memorable, and that type of thing. But regardless,
definitely goes through some sunblock.
Yeah, I do need some sunblock on the head. But I'm not gonna.
Let me tell you what I like. I like that we're finally the one getting the new stadium. I don't like watching all the other cities get their big palace stadiums, the Jerry's Worlds, the Las Vegas, the Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. I don't like watching all the stadiums all the cities get their big new fancy stadiums, and we're always last.
Yeah,
we're always making
due.
Renovations. Right now, what Shad Khan's doing, this is puts us in the big league. This is it. I love it.
I don't want Duval to get a basic stadium with all, like what you said, with everybody getting these state-of-the-art stadiums, and then we get a new stadium and it's going to be basic.
Right.
No.
Well, the NFL won't allow
Let's go big.
the
Let's
NFL.
Go big, man.
The NFL won't let us just slap a coat of paint on it. There, it's got to be up to the standard that everybody's moving to these big crazy stadiums with all the latest in technology and whatnot. So it's due. I mean, it's a 30-year-old stadium. It's due. But then more importantly, so one thing that Lamping said was, if it was just about the stadium, I don't think the deal gets done. It's about the surrounding area. It's about building up downtown.
Right.
And there's so many. Jacksonville is a great city. I love Jacksonville, and it's unique because it's so spread out. It's like multiple cities in one, and you'll get some out of towners come in and they're like, I don't. There's nothing
Biggest
to
city
do
land-wise in America.
It is, and they say there's nothing to do downtown. I was like, yeah, but you can go to the beach. You can go to Riverside or wherever.
Let me tell you what I like. It's a first-class organization, a first-class team with a first-class owner, and they're putting a winning product on the field. It's time for this
and
new
he's
stadium.
putting up money.
I love it. I love everything.
Lamping was like, you can name, I can count on one finger the amount of people that will come in and say, I'm going to pay $1 billion. And the city needs to, put up their end as well. Again, it's not just the stadium. It's the stadium. It needs to be upgraded.
Without a doubt.
But then you're talking about, UF bringing their campus here, the graduate
And that's
camp.
what I was going to ask. Me and Jeff were talking right before we went on. Jeff and I were talking right before we went on today about where they're gonna play the games for is it gonna be 2 full seasons that they're gonna be building?
He said, all right, so there's obviously they presented 2 options. At the first meeting there was a guy that was just like emphatic like we have to keep the team here, and I get that. I don't want them to play elsewhere. I like going to see the games, but they're given two options. They're saying that it's you can either do the 2-year plan where the team plays away, or there's some talk that maybe we could do something either at UNF or at the Shrimp Stadium, where I heard.
I don't like it.
Well, I mean, it's on the table.
The majority of the questions that we've got on social media on Instagram this week have been, where are they going to play the games? Where do you think? Where do you want to go? How far would you travel? We've seen Jeff. I've heard so far Gainesville, obviously, and the Daytona 500.
Orlando, Daytona,
and Orlando was the other one. Yeah,
yeah. And I'm a fan of Daytona. I'm a massive fan of Daytona. It's an hour away. A lot of people, and I've never been to Daytona 500. Never.
Right.
And I go to Jack's Holmes games all the time. I would 100% drive hour and a half every home game.
And you would say Orlando with the traffic and everything is too far for.
It's a little too far. I'll still go, but it's 3 hours.
And we lose some of that home field advantage.
A little bit. But like the Swamp, I think that I don't know the scheduling conflict with Gators playing on Saturday, Jack's gaming on Sunday. That field's going to be crap.
Right. How can they turn the field over in time?
I think the Daytona part is 100%. This is if we start it 2 years down the road, we're probably going to be a really good team still. You're going to have major primetime games because it's at Daytona. You're going to have fans that are Jaguar fans that live south of Daytona that never get to go to Jag games, and it's going to attract more fans in Daytona. It just makes sense to me.
Let me ask you, Ben. You go to every single home game. What's the furthest you're willing to travel to go to a game?
If they play in Orlando, I'm not going to be able to get to every game. I mean, I have family, busy schedule. I mean, that's a lot.
It'd be a couple games a year, maybe.
Yeah, and
what about Daytona?
Daytona is definitely more of a possibility to be able to get to every game because it's an hour, and going, depending on what time you leave, it could take an hour to get to the stadium.
I was just about to say that.
Here now, driving back.
It still takes an hour to leave.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. Like Daytona to me is totally plausible. Orlando's more or less out of the question. Gainesville, for me, option one is Daytona. Option two is Gainesville.
Yeah.
I don't know about how the traffic patterns are going to work and all that in Gainesville. They said it's the most, obviously it's the most ready-made venue.
I go to the Gator games, it's 90,000 fans, and the traffic is not that bad when you leave.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
No. I mean, it's to me, Daytona. If they can now, what it's going to come down to is, they met on Friday or they were supposed to meet on Friday with the people from Daytona, and I guess just kind of talk about what all it will entail, building it up and getting the the infrastructure right to be able to house a NFL game, and I don't know, but yeah, Daytona number one for me.
One thing that bothered me in the whole stadium talk is just hearing some of my friends going, why don't they just pick a different site? Why don't they just do this and get it done? I'm like, you have Daly's Amphitheater. You have all the plans around the stadium. Why would you want to build that somewhere else?
Right.
Do a 2-year, go to Daytona, be gone for 2 years, get it done. It's a beautiful spot on the river with everything else.
I feel like it just shows you how far behind we were when that's not already in place, and we needed to have a great team come in, a great owner come in, and build it up instead of that already being ready to go when we were ready to win. The timing.
When did we do the remodels with the big screens and the pools? How long ago was that?
Yeah.
Like 6 years?
Yeah, probably 6-7 years ago. Okay. And so the 4-year option, like I was saying, there was a guy that was like begging, and Lamping said, well, that's why we presented two plans. It's either the 2 years and have to play away, possibly have another site here in Jacksonville that we're able to play at if that could get approved by the NFL. But the alternative is the 4-year plan where it's a start-stop. They start construction, and then when the season comes around, they have to stop. And then what does that look like on game day? Lamping was even saying that there may not be escalators or elevators. They're going to have to tear out the concourse in order to widen it and everything. So how difficult is it going to be to move around on game day, and you're going to be in this skeleton
So we're
of
in
a stadium.
agreement that the best option is Daytona, second is
I
Gainesville.
want,
said a
I
2-year
want,
plan.
yeah, 2-year
Two-year
plan, and then ideal
Get it done.
situation.
And Ben,
Just do it and get it done.
you've been to the meeting, so let me ask you the question that's on nobody's mind. What's to come of the swimming pools?
No, he said that the swimming pools will actually. In the second one, he confirmed that the swimming pools will still be there. You just
kind of a statement.
you just didn't see them, yeah. And then maybe more importantly, there was a kid that asked the question. He said, with the renovations, is Jacksonville still going to have his zip line? And Lamping, he confirmed that we will have the zip line. So yeah, thank God.
Does the American flag thong come with that zip line?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
I actually like Jacksonville. I was
hilarious.
playing. I
Oh,
actually
he's
liked
great.
That was hilarious.
Jacksonville. So overall, tell us about the stadium. What'd you think overall?
Like design-wise?
Design-wise, yeah,
it's-
tell me.
I thought it looked sweet. I don't think it, a lot of people I saw out there said they thought it looked like SoFi. I don't think it looks like SoFi. I think it looks different. It's just that, modern, futuristic or whatever type of
And-
look
and
to
what
it.
is-
Some
And there can be changes along
exposure.
the way. So
Yeah, I mean, they're just
Yeah.
renderings.
Yeah,
And
this is
so,
just-
And we have those on Instagram, right? Those
well, yeah,
pictures
I
are
mean,
up.
the Jaguars page, the video
Okay.
that they released and everything, but the so you'll still get, kind of a feel of outside, and it's not totally enclosed, but it's I like it. I think it looks cool. There's just some of the other things, not just from a beauty standpoint, but
I think
it's
it's gorgeous.
yeah, it looks great, but it's just some of the other stuff that they talked about, like it's gonna have the ventilation, so it's it's not gonna be stuffy.
Which to me is huge. I mean, obviously we've been to the Kansas City game, which was a
Brutal.
record hot game.
And the
year
Patriots.
before that was the Patriots
Yeah.
game again, super hot. And we're out there. We could do that. But I think this Kansas City game, they had 10 to 15 people
With
in
heat
the
stroke.
stadium pass out heat
Yeah,
stroke.
I almost was
so the
one
new
of them.
stadium, what they say about the
heat
reduction
index.
in heat index? What was that?
I think it was like 75%.
And it gets, especially on the side we sit on, if there's no wind,
Oh, yeah.
it is
Yeah, you're baking.
smoking.
You're baking.
Smoking.
And they said that while you're protected from the sun and the elements, you're not sitting right in. We will still feel cold. It's not heated. It's going to be out of the sun, out of direct sun. You have ventilation, so it's not going to be stuffy and humid in there. And I mean, I think it's great. But more than that, though, I mean, it was they're going to have new food vendors, like the way they had it in the renderings.
I know you like your food.
I do like my food. I need to eat to fuel this machine.
Is this going to affect our tailgating? Or?
Well,
Nothing
actually,
affects our tailgating.
well, I don't know. That's a good question. So, one of the big questions that I had, and I know it was brought up by others, is
Jeff's tailgating right now.
I'm pre-gaming, guys. I'm pre-gaming.
How is the parking going to be affected? Because with the build out in the surrounding areas, we're going to lose parking. I mean, he said that. Now, if you go further out, a little bit further walk, there's still going to be plenty of spaces. And Florida, Georgia comes, so they're not going to get rid of all the areas where
Hey,
people
that's called
tailgate.
creating jobs. Now, the guys with the golf carts and the bicycler.
Well,
Shout out to those
said
guys
that-
that get us back and forth from the stadium. So
He said they're going to push more towards like Ubers and
I like it.
and other type of transportation. But I mean, that was a big thing for me. Like it was like we're a tailgating city, So are we going to have that?
1000%.
Yeah, we're going to have that space. And I think that again, it's just a fact. You're going to lose some of the parking that's like close by, but they'll I'm sure that's going to be taken into consideration, and you might have to walk a little bit further. But after the way I eat at a tailgate, a little bit extra walking isn't a big deal. It's probably a good thing.
It's almost like if you go to a game without tailgating, it's almost like blasphemy.
Can't do it.
Can you even cheer?
is it even a game?
Are you even allowed in? I don't even know. I don't even know who you
You
are.
gotta shoot, unless you want to, pay the stadium prices for drinks. You got to make sure you
Jeez.
fill up,
Yes.
and everything before you go. But to that though, he said that they've always looked at the at food as a revenue stream, and so that's why you pay $20 for a pork sandwich with no fries or anything, right? But they said that they're going to, part of the plan is that with the increase, so they're gonna. The premium seating is going to feel it the most. All the seats are going to go up in price, but the premium seating is going to feel it the most. And so that'll kind of help offset some of the costs. And he said it'll allow them to, when they bring the different vendors in, to come in and set up for the food. That I think what he said is, if you pay $6 for a burger outside of the stadium, you're going to pay $6 for the burger inside the stadium. So they're not going to be jacking it up, because
I completely respect the ticket prices going up, because
and I mean, it's all about, we're in one of the smaller markets, and our ticket prices have been one of the lowest, if not the lowest. I don't have the exact number, but it's been
pretty low.
Yeah, it's been one of the lowest in the league. And so we get a shiny new toy, and you got to pay for it. And but he also talks about building the values. The way they have the stadium, it's going to be an event. It's going to be an experience when you go to the stadium. So,
well, just like Atlanta did when they built their gorgeous stadium, ticket prices went up.
Food costs
but
went
the
down.
foods went way. The food costs went way down.
And by the way, their revenue went up. Did you know that their revenue? They have the highest revenue.
Because I went to the Michigan-Florida bowl game and bought a beer burger, and it was like $10.
Right. Yeah.
And that was just insane.
I can't wait. I mean, an elite team, an elite stadium. That's what they go hand
Gorgeous
in
stadium
hand.
with the teal lighting too.
I like it.
Well, I pray it gets done. I mean, I can't imagine with new mayor coming in that she'll. Nobody wants to lose the Jaguars on their watch, but I mean, that's basically where it is, though. I mean, if we don't get the deal done, the Jaguars are gone, right?
I don't think that's going to. I think
it's going to happen.
I'm optimistic about it too, and that was part
1%
of why I wanted to go to the huddles, was because I kind of wanted to see wherever, because when we got the team, there was opposition, and not just outside of Jacksonville. We were the underdog to get the team because we were little old Jacksonville. The NFL, they didn't want us to get a team, right? They liked Weaver, they liked his people, but they just thought Jacksonville was too small market. But on top of that, we had people in Jacksonville that opposed it, and I mean, it was a battle. And there's a good special. It's called Destiny. Channel 4 put it out a couple years ago for the Jaguars anniversary, and it kind of goes behind the scenes with everything that happened. It was really awesome. I was young when we got the team, but I do remember hearing, some of that stuff that was going on, and I was aware of it. But you really got to see how it all went down, and I feared, and still, fear to a degree, that there might be some of those people, politics coming into play, where it could present problems. I mean, I still am optimistic that it gets done. There was the first meeting that we had, everybody was, it was pretty much all pro. The second meeting was 99%. There was this one older lady that she seemed kind of miserable. I mean, the whole time she was like sitting to herself, just kind of, making noises and so she was obviously opposed.
We had a Karen?
She was an elderly
no
lady.
No disrespect to all the Karens out there.
No. I have an Aunt Karen. I love my Aunt Karen, but
my Aunt Karen.
But it's
you would have an Aunt Karen, by the way.
I do have an Aunt Karen.
Have an Aunt Karen.
She's not a Karen though. She's a nice lady. But no, and I swear. So I think I put this on Instagram. I said I've never been more happy to be a gentleman, because right before the meeting, the lady sitting next to me, and at this point I didn't know what her stance was, and I saw a friend, her aunt actually came in, and I said, here, y'all can have my spot, and me and the other guy stood up and gave up our seats. And thank God, because the lady was sitting next to her the whole time, and I see her like just.
Well, I'll assume she's not watching the Spot On Jaguars podcast, so boo to that lady.
Yeah,
from town.
boo to that lady. I mean, God, but everybody has their, entitled to their opinion, even if it's wrong. But she was just, negative Nancy, but like. But yeah,
we'll get the deal done. I mean, we're gonna get it.
Yeah, we got to.
I like it.
I mean, because with
I think
everything we
do.
got planned, with tearing down with part of the Hart Bridge Expressway and the ideas of what we're doing with the shipyards, with Daly's amphitheater, there's no way it's not going to get done. I mean, it's just, and it would mean so much for the city, because really we've always been a slow growing city, because Jacksonville's self-sufficient. It has everything. You got the downtown, you have the ports, you got the river, you got the creeks, you got the beach, you got the country, you got everything in Jacksonville.
What we don't have is that destination. People don't come to Jacksonville for the beach. If they want to go somewhere for the beach, they're gonna hit Miami or go to Tampa or whatever, right? For other things that we really don't have. We don't have a destination attraction. If we build that up,
everything else around it.
That's what I was saying earlier. I was like, the great part about Jacksonville is you can go here, you can go to this side of town, this side of town, but we don't have that like central spot. Like in most big cities, in their downtown is where people go. That's where the tourists go. That's where, and so you just think about the money that will generate. If we can make that a destination, like, hey, let's go to Jacksonville and see a Jags game, but then we can party like in Nashville.
Correct.
I mean, I don't want to say anything nice about Nashville, but that's been a relatively new development. They've really built up,
Well, that's why I go to the Jags Tennessee game, because I love Nashville.
Exactly, and we need that. And then on the flip side of that, though, too, is because, some of the people that have pushed back is like, well, I don't want Jacksonville to be, Orlando or Atlanta or whatever. And
it's too big be.
Exactly.
It's too big.
Exactly. And like, if you have that hub downtown and you don't want to get near that, that's cool. Then go over here. You go over to this side of town. And so
probably a 20, 30-minute drive
exactly.
to a completely different part. And you think it's a different city. No.
And that's why I think it would be awesome and just bringing in, jobs and just the money that would bring in.
I don't see it not getting.
And I don't see how it could be a bad thing.
It makes too much freaking sense.
I'm still angry that we gave Nashville flowers on this thing. I mean, I don't.
Come on, have you been and partied in Nashville?
Nothing good.
They don't call it Nash Vegas for nothing.
Nothing good comes from Nashville.
I didn't say I like the Titans.
What was that place? What was that place we went to? It wasn't Nashville. It was right outside of Nashville. No. When we went, we were in Tennessee. And we went to,
it was Clarksville or
it wasn't Red
I've
Elephant.
never been, but I could guess it was a dump.
Oh, I know that bourbon bar.
Yeah,
that was a solid place.
That was.
God, I wish I could remember.
No,
what
it
was
is. It
was a gorgeous, solid place.
And the food was really good.
Really, really good.
And they had like their own bourbon. It was a really good spot. So I don't get along with the sport teams, but Tennessee's actually it's beautiful and it's a great spot.
Yeah.
Moving right along from the stadium. Moving right along the same. So yeah, that was the majority of the questions we've been getting on social media. And by the way, we love the interaction. Keep the questions coming. Social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Keep them coming. We
TikTok,
love it.
We're on all of them, and we'll put the handles in the description.
And you want some more story time? Ben will give it to you.
Ben will, you can hit him up for private story. I don't know. You do personalized stories.
If anybody remembered reading Rainbow, this is it right here.
That's very apt description.
I'm LeVar Burton now.
Very apt description. I like it. I like that, Jeff. Anyways, guys, that's about it for the inaugural.
Yeah, but hey,
inaugural podcast.
Before we go though, just like we said, like, subscribe. Leave comments, ask questions, let us know.
We love the interaction. We love the interaction.
Let us know what you want to hear. And then what we're going to do, though, is we're going to pick some of our favorite comments, and if there's more than one, then we'll pick them at random, and then we're going to have some giveaways. We've got some T-shirts, gift cards,
gear.
tickets.
If you're lucky enough, you might actually get a one-on-one story time.
You might get a one-on-one.
Teal Rising over here.
Strap in, buckle up. It's going to be a great season, and we're going to be coming at you all season long. It's Spot On Jaguars, brought to you by Teal Reign. Eric, Ben, Jeff, signing off. Have a good one.
See y'all. That was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I think so.
Ben, you're going to have to do some magical editing, buddy. Magical editing. You better be a wizard with that shit.